Hello. In this video I'm going to show how to load the empty bobbin spool with thread from the thread tree that I have, thread spool that I have up here. And you can see the thread is in the thread stand there. So I have a large amount of orange thread. And this is usually where, if you just have a regular spool of thread, that's where it would go, but I'm not using that, so it's not there. And what I'm going to do is get started loading a bobbin and then explain how to thread the needle, how to thread the sewing machine on the needle on the Singer 4432 heavy-duty sewing machine. The first step in preparing to load a bobbin is to take the thread and pull it into this guide up here on top, just like that. You can hear it click in when it goes in. And then when you put the thread in between this tension disc on this post here, you go in from this side like that, and it crosses over itself, and then you come down to the bobbin spool. Now on the bobbin spool there are holes to put the thread through, and what I usually try to do, and these can be quite clumsy to hold, these plastic spools, bobbin spools, what I try to do is get it in the bottom through that hole, like that. Then what I do is I place it on the post, and I push the post and the bobbin spool to the other part, and now I hold on to the thread and I'm ready to press the foot pedal to start it loading. Now the bobbin loader will automatically stop once the bobbin spool is fully loaded. So here we go, I'll show you how that works. There, it is stopped. And that's how it does it. When it gets loaded, it kind of disengages and stops turning. So now I can just take that like that, and then I'll cut the thread. And now that's ready to go down below and be loaded into the bobbin case. Now that long extra thread that I was holding on to on the bottom, I'm just going to cut that off before I put the spool in the bobbin case. There. So I'll throw that out. Now I'll go down below and I'll show you how I put this in the bobbin case. This next part is quite simple. Now the important thing to remember is that you want the thread coming off the top of the bobbin. You want the thread on top, and you want it coming off anti-clockwise. So, like that. If I was to wind that up, it would be going anti-clockwise. I'm just going to remove the bobbin case cover. And it's quite simple to do this. Just drop it in like that, and then you can see over here there's a slot. And what I'm going to do is bring the thread over and put it down in that slot like this. There, it's gone in there now, and that bobbin is now threaded. It's ready to go into service once I thread the needle, and then the needle thread will have to go down below, catch this bobbin thread and pull it up. and then when both of them are pulled up together, then the machine, both lower thread and upper thread, will be ready to sew and stitch. I'll just replace the cover. There, just like that. And now I'm going to go back up top and start to show how I thread the, essentially I thread the needle, but it starts at the top of the machine. Okay, here I am at the top of the machine again, and there's two places where I'm going to point out. The first one is this thread guide here, and it says number 1, and then it has a line going this way with an arrow on it, and so it's showing you that you bring the thread, it has to go in between here first, and then you take it over to there. So I'll do that. Now when you put it in here, you can hear a little click or noise as the thread goes in. It didn't make it. And then what I do is, the next step is to pull the thread through this kind of self-guided slot there. Just like this. I always, with my right hand or thumb or forefinger or whatever, maintain a little bit of tension on the thread so it's easy to deal with. This one we might hear. Well, I didn't hear it there either. Now I'm going to drop it in this slot and take the thread down to the bottom. There's a couple of things we have to do. And this is very simple. It's just a case, follow the arrows, and they're numbered. This is number 3, this is number 4, and just follow it around. And I put my finger back up at top just to hold it a little bit, the thread a little bit taut. And I keep it towards the right side, like over here, and then I make sure the take-up lever is up. And now I want to pull it to the left and slide it into that slot there, like that. And then take it down to the needle area. And I'll show you that. Now in this area there are 2 guides before we go down to the needle and the hole in the needle to thread the needle. And the one guide is there, that's the first one. And the second one is there, that's the second one. And both of these guides, thread guides, are on a horizontal plane. Like it goes that way and that way. And for both guides, it's a matter of pulling the thread and sliding it across the steel. Here's the second one. So now we've got the upper thread threaded correctly. All I have to do now is thread the needle. So I'll show you that next. Okay, we're ready to thread the needle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the thread and have a really nice, clean, sharp cut on the thread that I want to insert in the needle hole. The second thing I'd like to point out is that here is the presser foot, and personally myself, I lower the presser foot so it gives me more distance to maneuver the thread to get it into the needle. Now I also quite often use a magnifying glass because my eyes aren't always the best when it comes to threading a needle, but after a little bit of practice, it sometimes is not all that difficult, because right here on the needle is a groove. And sometimes what I do is I just get the thread, or the head of the thread, into that groove, and then I slide it right down to the needle hole, which is right there. So I'm going to try doing that without using the magnifying glass first. So there I've got it in the groove. Now I've slid it down, and there the thread is coming through the hole. So it's just a matter of grabbing the thread and pulling it through and making sure that the thread is straight. Now it's wrapped around a little bit, so I'm going to straighten it out without pulling the thread out, hopefully. Let me try that again. So I've got it in the groove. Now I'll pull it down. There, I think we're through again. Let me keep everything straight. There, the thread didn't go under the needle, so that's lined up. Whoopsie daisy. Did I pull it out? No, I didn't. Good. Now I'm going to pull up the presser foot, because to go down to catch the bobbin thread, you want to have the presser foot in the up position. And this is quite a simple process. It's just a matter of holding the thread, the needle thread, and then sending the needle down and rotating the balance wheel, the hand wheel, and we can see, well, maybe you can't see, maybe it's more difficult, but I can see that it's caught the thread and it's about to come up. And I'm watching, I should have it there. Let me try that. There we are. So there's the needle thread, and there I've got the bobbin thread as well. So that's how it's done. I was able to send it down and cut it, catch it, and now I'm just going to trim them both and leave about, I like to leave a long bit, about 6 or 7 inches, and that's how I do it. So it took me a while to learn that, you know, being a new sewer, but practice does make perfect. The other thing I can say is that sometimes it takes a few tries to thread the needle, and sometimes it takes a try or 2 or maybe even 3 to catch the bobbin thread. But if you're really new and you've never done this before, you've only done it once or twice, the more you do it, the more simpler, easier it becomes. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for visiting. Please like and subscribe if you would like to do that. I would appreciate the help. And have fun, stay safe, and enjoy your sewing and your projects. Adios, amigo.